Welcome back to another episode of the Successful Driver podcast presented by Aero Truck Sales. And we are continuing our conversation with DEX Heavy Duty Parts. And we are thrilled to be talking to Darin Redmon, the Director of Operations out there. Darin, my man, I appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thank you. It's glad to be on the call and look forward to a good conversation.
Absolutely. And getting to hear from everyone at DEX, it's been a lot of fun and getting to learn from a lot of different perspectives with all of y'all out there. And it's been really insightful and good information. And I'm sure no pressure here, Darin. I'm just no pressure here, buddy, but you've got some big shoes to fill with the rest of your organization. Well, we normally ask this question to kind of start the show, and it's just a little bit about you, your industry background, your how you got started in the trucking industry, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Very interesting story for me. I started out, my father was a mechanic, so I've always kind of been a gearhead and been around those type things. And my grandfather was actually a truck driver. He was an owner operator, so
Awesome.
always been around it and involved with it, and just kind of the love of it, the mechanics, the engineering, and just diesel and the whole truck itself. So it's always been there and been in the blood, so to speak. So as I was getting older, got into high school, and I actually had a love for Mack trucks. I don't know what it was about them, but loved the Bulldog, loved the look of the truck. And in high school, I'd done like a co-op where I went to school a couple hours and then, was working in the job force, and local Mack truck dealer in the town I lived in. At the time, wouldn't hire people under the age of 18 for, obviously insurance reasons, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I just kept driving and driving. I just wanted to work for Mack, and that was the local dealer at the time. And eventually I was persistent enough to have the opportunity. I showed up one day and it was situational. They needed someone to clean and detail trucks, and was not at all what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a mechanic at the time, but I was like, hey, I'll take whatever I can get. And so that was kind of my road to stardom, so to speak, in the trucking world. So within a few years, by the time I graduated high school and I went to college, I went to a technical college to get more formally educated in the subject, and come back to work at the dealership and was a full-time diesel tech. And from there, got into the Volvo organization and Mack organization. And it's been about 23, 25 years now. So I've been specifically in the DEX group for the last 12, 13 years almost, and working within that organization and growing that business, and look forward to an exciting future. There's a lot going on in the trucking world, a lot of changes, and very excited where the industry's at and where it's going. And hopefully I've got a good 25, 30 more years maybe to see the changes here. So
Is it fair to say you're living out a dream here?
I am. I love what I do. It's from as a kid growing up, to see it and being where I'm at today. I mean, I truly enjoy what I'm doing. I love the atmosphere. I love the team. And I'm sure as you've talked with some of the rest of the DEX team, we try to make it a very fun and exciting place to work. We care about our people. It's very engaging, and it's good to say, I think everybody here has a passion for what they do. We really thrive for good customer service, customer satisfaction, whether that's internally within our own departments, our own teammates, or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we enjoy coming to work and like what we do. And I think everyone here has a passion for that. And it makes a big difference. It changes who we are and what we do, and the end result of that, our customers hopefully see that, and it gains respect for them as well.
So it's always interesting to hear how the impact of previous generations of truck drivers affected some of the people here within the industry. And it's clear, like, I want to know a little bit about how big of an impact your grandfather had on your career path here. I mean, it sounds like it very much did.
Oh, it was huge. Both him and my father. I mean, just I'm kind of dating myself a little bit, but when they were in the industry and doing things, I mean, it was you're very loyal to brands. You were a diehard Mac or diehard Peterbilt
Hmm.
or what have you. Kind of person. There was cat guys and those kind of things. And
Right.
now it's shifted. I mean, you obviously still have that, but people bought vehicles and transportation solutions back then because of the historical factor and what their fathers and grandfathers
Yeah.
did. And nowadays, it's just a totally different world. There's everything from retention, driver retention, the quality to fuel mileage and the whole total logistics solution rather than just the vehicle itself. So but his influence, getting back to that question, was tremendous. I mean, I was fortunate enough before he retired to spend a few summers with him actually out on the road. And I mean, to this day, it was some of the best
Mm.
experiences I've had. I mean, I've seen every state from Maine to Florida and some out west as well. And just that's a complete lifestyle that people don't understand from a driver standpoint. It is a lifestyle. It's not a normal job. It's not what it takes a special person to do that and be able to do it. I highly respect that. A lot of people take that for granted, the infrastructure of the world and moving material and what it takes for all of us. But none of that could happen without truck drivers. So the influence was tremendous on me, and it gave me the foundation and stepping stones of where I'm at today, and the drive to want to be part of that.
Yeah.
It was important. So.
Well, and you've got to see some firsthand experience with a successful driver. You got to ride around 2 summers. I mean, you and Johnny Cash, you've been everywhere, man. But I want to know this question, especially getting that perspective, from, generations of, truck drivers now too, and being around some. What makes a successful driver in your opinion?
Oh wow. I don't think there's any one thing. I think it's a combination of it. In today's world, for a successful truck driver, I would say a large percentage of it is the efficiency. Seeing the evolving change of most of your owner operator type operations back in the 80s and 90s to rolling more into most people being some type of fleet or fleet associated, even if it's a smaller, owner operated fleet that's, just 4 or 5 trucks or something of that nature. To be successful in today's world, you have to it's not just being a driver. You have to be a logistics manager. You have to be efficient. You have to be a business owner. You have to have that total package, of every piece of it. It's not just getting in a truck and driving. There's the safety of both yourself, the safety of the material, the other people on the road. Care for the environment. There's tons of things I think that goes into making a successful driver, and it's a unique lifestyle and a unique job, and I'm very fortunate for all the truck drivers we have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the most thankless jobs in the world. And it's so amazing when we talk to people, it doesn't matter where in the industry, it is not lost on them how valuable the truck drivers out there are. And it runs throughout this entire industry. It doesn't matter what role you have. And Darren, the thing is it's always interesting to hear. I mean, you're right. This is a multifaceted job. This is something that has a lot of layers to it, and it's not an easy job. It's always fascinating to hear what each person that we talk to profiles, though. And you talked about efficiency, but we might hear safety, we might hear um you know your driver health. There's so many layers to this about it's always interesting to see what profiles. And the thing is, everybody's right. There's a lot of truth to anything everybody says, but I'm always interested to see what people profile in that, in it, when we ask them that question. That's why I love to ask it. And we love to ask this question too: your role in the truck driver story. How are you helping truck drivers find success these days?
Good question. I think putting it in the perspective of DEX and DEX Heavy Duty Parts specifically, it goes a lot tied back to that efficiency and ease of doing business.
Mhm.
We are in the trucking business. We understand what it takes to make them successful. And again, if they're not moving, they're not making money. Whether it's a fleet, a owner operator, or whoever that may be. So what we try to do is make it as efficient as possible to keep them on the road and keep their wheels turning so they're making money. If they're not successful, we're not going to be successful. So the key is, if we're providing quality parts, efficient, or getting them as quick in and out of the facility, having their loads ready, if we're picking up or receiving, whatever the case may be, is doing that as quickly and efficiently as possible. And in all times, in the event they do have a downtime or failure, it's making sure that we reduce that as much as possible, whether it's through one of our quality parts or products, or the shipping, or the whole process. We kind of have a saying at DEX: we don't sell parts, we sell Dexperiences. And a lot of people say, oh, it's kind of cheesy or what have you, but it goes in perspective. It's not about just the part, it's the total experience that you get from the time you place an order to the time you physically get your vehicle back on the road. So whether it's a truck driver coming through the gate to deliver, we want to provide the best experience that we can.
We share the same experience, uh, as or should I say Dexperience. We share the same thing as well, though, in a lot of regards. We can't have success at Arrow if our truck drivers don't have success that are putting their trust in us to buy these trucks. And so it's the
Absolutely.
same, we want, I mean, it's the same. And I think it's a way of doing business that is becoming more common throughout the industry. It's very, we all want driver success. We all do,
Absolutely.
because we can't have it without them. You okay? So how the industry has changed for you, like in your perspective, in regards to the parts for these used truck owners. How do you think the industry has changed?
Oh wow. This has changed tremendously. I would say there's many factors that's driven that. Everything from emissions to proprietary type parts, the things of that nature. But what really changes it, I think, is today is things like availability, supply chains, multifacets like that. But but as an owner operator, or a used truck purchaser, I think the change in that would be a lot with availability, as far as OEs versus more availability with like a WD or will fit type parts. It's just really the access to what we consider life cycle type parts. You used to see, specifically in the salvage industry, there was a lot of localized, like family owned type businesses. You're seeing a lot of that expanding out to larger corporations. So even on a salvage or used parts level, you're seeing more commercialization of that, more specialty type yards. Used to, you could go anywhere and get any type of part because of the commonality between multiple brands, where today you're seeing a lot more proprietary things. If
Mhm.
you're looking for a Volvo part, you go to Volvo. If you're looking for a Mac part, the days of you just went to the local parts store and they had one part that fit 10 different trucks, a lot of that's
Mhm.
kind of going away. So
Right.
I think that end availability and accessibility to things is one of the biggest changes, whether it's engine parts or crash, or that type of industry. It doesn't matter. There's more available because of accessibility to different vendors, but it's more limited because of the proprietary and type of parts they are.
Yeah. Right. And so the outlook moving forward, I mean, you've kind of alluded to that a little bit, but what do you think the outlook moving forward, especially coming out of the pandemic, is for used trucks or used parts and renovated parts?
I think a lot of it going forward, you're going to see a lot more, obviously, of the e-com. That's typically been more of a localized type of business. I think you'll see a lot more of the e-com stepping into play. And obviously, you're going to see a lot more of specialty type yards and providers. We do that at Dex. We handle all makes and models, but we obviously specialize in Volvo and Mac applications. So
Hmm.
I think you'll for the industry to properly serve the end customer, there's no way you can know everything about all of it. It changes too fast in
Right.
today's world. It's similar to like cell phones. You gotta be up to date and know what the latest technology and what's
Mhm.
coming down the road. So the life cycle of the vehicle changes so fast now. I think you'll see a lot more specialty applications and providers of things.
All right. So I want to, I've really valued getting to talk to everybody at Dex. I want to give you a chance to just let everybody know what makes Dex different from some of your competitors out there.
Um, that's good. I think the biggest thing that makes Dex different than our competitors is the quality. Obviously, we have very high quality standards compared to a lot of what people typically see or think in our industry. That total Dex experience is a big differentiator. Again, we're not just trying to sell you a part. We're trying to build relationships and long-term, supplies for our customers, and just that total downtime, I think, is a big piece that's different with Dex. We don't always try to focus on price or warranties and those type things. We try to listen to our customers, and it goes back to what we said is what makes a successful driver. Their downtime is the most critical thing for them. So in the event they do have downtime, we're focused on that solution to get them back up and going. So whether it's a complete offering like a fully loaded hood painted and ready to install, or if it was something as simple as an assembly or how we offered a product, we're going to focus on reducing that driver or that customer's downtime as much as possible to limit it.
Well, Darren, I appreciate you spending some time with us. It was great getting to talk to you. Thank you for spending a little bit of time talking about Dex and all this stuff with us.
All right. Thank you, Kent. Appreciate it.
Yep, that's another episode of the Successful Driver Podcast presented by Aero Truck Sales. Make sure to follow it wherever you consume your podcast content, videos, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are all over the place providing this. We appreciate you all for spending some time with us, and we'll catch you later.